Hi, I'm Anne-Marie from BrambleBerry.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this love letter soap. Now this is an advanced recipe because it uses a variety of techniques. 1, this charcoal line, 2, embeds, and 3, this scraping concept that was made popular by Belinda from Love Your Suds and Roxanne from Caprica Soapery. The scraping technique is really interesting. It's where you actually take this design and you use it to pull through the soap to scrape away the design. So you can see where we did that here. So this video will go over the type of trace you need for that, how to make this tool, and then how to actually do the scraping and then make it look pretty. One thing to note about this is a remarkably simple tool, and if you want something more complicated, Belinda from Love Your Suds has every kind of scraper tool under the sun, cats, unicorns, you name it. If you look back at the Meet Your Maker showdown that Roxanne won while I was a judge, she used 3 different scraper tools to make very complex designs. You can watch that on Disney Plus, by the way. Or you can look on this channel and find Roxanne making a pretty complicated, difficult scraping tool project using Belinda's tools. First, we're going to make the scraper tool. Now to make this, you need some cardboard, a ruler is really helpful, marker, and some tape. Now you're making it out of cardboard and tape, so it's only going to last 4 or 5 times, but still, this is a really good way to try out techniques. Get something that's long enough that you can make little tabs, so you can use that to scrape and pull down. And then we are just going to use our ruler to actually figure out how to make the right depth, make really straight lines. Another thing these little handles are used for is when you are down here, they are used for keeping your design and your scrape level. So that's another reason we're using a ruler. So for that, I am also needing to think of how deep do I want this point to go? And so when I look at that, I'm like, how far is that down that I want it to scrape? It's just about 2 inches. So I'm going to go and put my ruler just about 2 inches, make a little dot at the bottom here, and then make my triangle and make sure that I have enough on the sides for that leveling and handle device. So the sides are here. And so then I'm going to figure out how wide my handles need to be. They're just about 1 inch. And then let's make sure the dot's in the middle. So I'm just going to look, and this is just, and for me, my stuff is going to be just a little bit different than yours. This is just about 3.5 inches. So I just want to make sure that we're right in the middle, and we're pretty good. So I'm going to make my triangle. And then once I have my lines set, I am going to just follow along and cut. And then from there, cover with tape. So got this, gonna test it, and it totally works, yay! And now, in order to make this last longer, I'm gonna cover this with tape because your wet oils will actually disintegrate this and make it really soft, and you won't have a tool anymore. So let's cover it with tape. It doesn't make it totally like permanent, but at least you can get 4 or 5 uses out of it before it breaks. There's no real right way to do this. I am going to try sealing it like this and then cutting it again and see if that gets me a better seal, because in this one, I've used this one a few times and the soap got inside of it, and that's totally fine. It just turns into soap. But you know, I worked kind of hard on this and I want it to last. So I'm just going to try and seal it and see what that does. However you do it, you want to make sure that this is as covered as possible. And the soap is going to find a way in, it just will. But the longer you can kind of keep it away, the more time you have to use the scraping tool and the more batches you can make with your makeshift cardboard scraping tool. The other thing you need to do, and prepare this ahead of time, is the embed. And I did this earlier, melted down some melt and pour, poured it in the Brambleberry Heart embeddable mold, trimmed it, made sure it fit in here, and then that's all ready to go. So the 2 things you need to prep are your scraping tool and your embed. And now we're ready to make some soap. Reminder, suit up for safety, children and pets in another room, make sure you have an hour to soap. For this particular recipe, I want it to be pretty white, and so I'm going to put titanium dioxide in the entire batch. And I'm just going to add this titanium dioxide directly to the oils. It skips a step, so I don't have anything to disperse, which is really nice. And So I just mix that titanium dioxide in really good. And then I'm gonna put my lye water in, and we are gonna be working with a pretty thick trace because we need that scraping to actually go ahead and scrape properly and hold. So I'm gonna stick blend just a little bit, and then I'm gonna add my fragrance. So here we go to get to a medium trace. So now my trace is at a really, this is a pretty light medium trace. I want it just a little bit thicker. And now I'm gonna add my fragrance, and I am going to whisk it in. And this is not the correct kind of consistency to pour at quite yet, but we're getting there. And this Love Letter fragrance barely discolors to like kind of a very lightish yellow. It smells like heliotrope and mandarin oranges. It's a very beautiful, soft, citrusy floral. You can see it acts really well in cold processed soap. And I'm gonna go ahead and stick blend just a little bit more because it's actually even backed our trace off. So now we're just at like not even a medium trace. And we do need this to be at a thicker medium trace to sustain that scraping. So now we're at a medium trace. I'm gonna go ahead and pour this, but I'm also gonna have to let it sit in the mold for just a few minutes until it's thick enough to sustain that scraping. So pouring this, but letting it sit in the mold for at least another couple of minutes, because if I do the scraping while it's at this consistency, it'll just whoop, go back in like it was water. And there's just a tiny bit of soap left in here. We want that to be left in because we do need to mound the leftover white soap over our embed. Okay, I think it might be go time. So we're just gonna put this in and we're gonna test the consistency. You notice that we are scraping and it is staying. Okay, so now I have to figure out how I'm gonna get this out. And so I just there's no really clean way to do this. If you are a soaper that doesn't like to wear gloves when you make soap, and yes, I know some of you are out there, you have to wear gloves right now because you will truly burn your skin. So definitely keep your gloves on. This process gets messy, it gets all over your hands. This is where if you're not working on a surface that you can actually get any raw soap spilled on, you're gonna wanna make sure you are working on a surface that you can. So put that cardboard down, put that newspaper down, anything, just to make sure that you keep your counters preserved. One little last bit, and you wanna save every little bit of that white soap. So it's kind of tempting to maybe be a little sloppy. Getting the rest of our soap out. We're confirming that the design is staying. There is no backsliding. And we're gonna do one more pull and drag all the way down. And there's a little bit more soap to get out. And then we'll do one final pull and drag to make sure this is as even as possible. And that we've gotten all the soap out that we can. And now we are almost perfectly smooth. My semi-perfectionist tendencies are sated and we are ready. We are ready for the next step. I have a lot of soap left in here, like many ounces, 8 ounces probably. I'm gonna kind of push that to the side and I'm gonna do my very messy charcoal line now. So now it's time for the charcoal line, and if you've never worked with charcoal, it is lighter than air, it goes everywhere. It's okay, it's worth it because of this very cute design. I like to use a tea diffuser to kind of break the charcoal up as I am going down. And you're gonna have to do a few passes. It's not going to be that clean. It is okay. This is exactly what you end up with, and you do end up with a little bit on the sides of the mold. And so now I'm just gonna give it a quick look over and make sure I'm kind of even. It's just a design preference. Usually with mica, I end up kind of blowing to make sure that everything is well coated with charcoal because I don't like to clean it up. I don't, but so this is what it is. So now we're going to very gently take this is pretty thick, right? And we're just gonna spoon it very gently down the middle because you don't want to disturb the charcoal line. but we need to provide a base for our heart for our love letter to go. So we've got this spooning in, and it's got pretty good coverage, and we also need to leave some for on top so that we get the mound over our embed. So we have this. I'm just going to kind of give it a little shimmy so we have enough base for our heart to go into. Now, with my gloves still on, taking the heart, putting it directly in, pushing it down. You don't want to hit all the way to the bottom, but you got to get in there enough that your love letter looks like a love letter. So now I can see that I've got a solid 1/4 of an inch between my heart and the top of the soap mold. And now I'm going to slowly work on gently covering. And this will not be perfect right away. These are more like white fluffy clouds because of the thickness of our soap, but we'll smooth that out carefully and gently. And you notice I'm really scraping here. Like when I said you use all of that white soap, I meant it. You use all of the white soap. And so that's why we were so careful about preserving our white soap. And now we start to kind of just get it to go over and to go through. Usually, if this was a normal design, I would have tapped this a lot, but since I want my scraping to stay perfect, I'm actually going to just smooth this out and make it even with the spoon. So just gonna smoothly, and there we go. And now it's time to make a cool design on top. Notice I was very careful and I didn't get any of that charcoal in. And it's really tempting to take this and move it back in. But remember, we have charcoal all down the sides of the soap, so we can't really. So now, almost done, just gonna do our design and build it up from the sides. And of course, remember, we do not want to get any of the charcoal in because that's not the look we're going for. If you do, it's not a big deal. It's soap. No one's gonna know that wasn't part of the original design. Speaking of original designs, we actually, when we originally did this recipe, we originally tried a little bit of our red eco glitter, which means it's a biodegradable glitter, and that was really fun and cute. I'm gonna do a little bit of Snowflake Ultra Sparkle just for the top. It makes it really cute. Okay, I may have gone a little overboard there. And then, just because I can't leave well enough alone, I do want to try this red. Okay, I'm gonna do some red. Oh, this is so pretty. I love it. Do some red. Yay. And now, I don't really want this to go through too hot of a gel phase, so I'm gonna actually just let this sit here and harden up and get ready to unmold it in just a couple days. So I made this a few days ago so I could unmold it and show it to you. It's gonna be a little bit messy because of this charcoal. It's just fine. So the way you unmold from the Brambleberry silicone molds is you pull gently away from the sides and then you pop this over. We have a little ridge here, so I'm not gonna pop it flat. I do see I've gotten a little charcoal there, so I'm just gonna move this over. And then you push gently down on the bottom. And we did sodium lactate in here, so it is releasing really nicely and easily from the mold. I love sodium lactate for that reason. Put it in the lye water. And now I do have charcoal all over my hands, so I'm just gonna take a little break and wash it. So, cutting on its side with a non-serrated knife, there is no way that you're not gonna get some drag marks from that charcoal. We're gonna clean them up later, so don't stress about that. So, you kind of inhale and you cut straight down. This we're gonna clean up with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and just finger. This is so pretty, it's so cute and cheerful and happy. I love it. I like the sparkle on the top as well. The sparkle is just kind of there for a little bit of appeal the first few times you use it, because of course it'll wash off pretty quickly, but this design will stay beautifully in the shower. Hey, ha, that worked. All right. So the Brambleberry multi-cutter also works for this. So now all of those bars are cut and they are beautiful, and I love how this looks. And it actually dragged a little bit less than the knife did now that I'm looking at this cut. So now let's clean these up. Let me show you how to clean them up. So sometimes you get drag marks with that charcoal, and I mean, actually it's not sometimes, it's a lot of the time, and you can just, there's a lot of different ways to clean it up. You can use just a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and you can use your finger, you can use your fingernail, you can try and rub it away with a washcloth, you can use a scraper tool, however you want to do it. You can just clean up your bar pretty easily and make sure that those drag marks are just not there anymore. But rubbing alcohol is pretty good for that. Scraper tool, your nail, like anything just to kind of get those black drag marks away. And then you just smooth it out again. And here you go. You're clean. Yeah. You can use a paper towel, lots of different ways to do it. Whatever it is, you just want to make sure that your soap looks really smooth and clean and those marks are not dragging all the way down. And just for fun, I did a blue heart as well. So let's just see that design variation. So cute. That is shockingly cute. I like it a lot, actually. I can see a lot of different possibilities now. Different occasions, and now I want an entire Pride series of this. How cute would that look? So we made this obviously for the major project, the main project, with a classic red, but you can do any color you want. I did this with blue and I love how this looks actually. I think it's really striking. And now of course I want to see this with black hearts and yellow hearts and all the colors of the rainbow. Such a fun and versatile design. If you liked this project, give it a thumbs up below. Of course, subscribe to the channel. And every time you make something, either using a technique you learned on this channel or using Brambleberry products, please give it a hashtag #BrambleOn on all the socials so we can get inspired by what you do. And of course, the makers in our community can get inspired by what you've made and you've created. Until next time, happy soaping. I'm going to show you how to make I will try to make it sound natural. God, these are cute. Sometimes when a design works, it just freaking works. I was like, stop, I got this, okay, make her show down, okay, all right. She's cutting, she remembers when she was in preschool. Oh, this is perfect. Oh yeah, no, I am a phenomenal cutter. I just want to make that super clear. Like, I'm gonna put that on my resume from here on out. I've tested it, Just makes me want to say wee again. Okay. Wee. Wee. Okay, here we go. Waiting, 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 keep waiting, keep waiting. Actually, what was interesting when I made the practice one, it went from we're waiting, waiting, waiting to, oh, this is too hard. Oh dear. Oh, good. That's so perfect. I'm so glad that worked out that way.
Why don't I know every single product name off the top of my head? I'm fired.
No.
Well, no, it
never
used to
leave
be.
me. Stop. There's no point in having things that you cannot get messy and you cannot break. Fingers? Rubbing? Just finger. Just finger?
Fingers. Someone's fingers. And then like, maybe let's do an outro.
Done. All right, that was fun. I love that glitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, glitter is
so
the
cute. You
best.
know who literally just said that yesterday?